AP? Yes. Alright, I like that. Okay. Well, it'll get you far. My name is Andrieka J. Austin. I go by Miss AJ. My company is Journey Girl. I work with girls and moms, your age and younger, teaching them how to have better relationships with themselves and each other. We do workshops on the weekends for mothers and daughters, bringing them together, helping them to talk and communicate. Raise your hand if you're close with your mom. That is great. Raise your hand if you feel like you wish you could kind of tell her more. That's guys too, right? And see, I'm not used to the guys' responses, so I like to hear feedback from you guys as well. So we work to try to help through a 5-step process, teaching you guys how to connect, communicate, understand each other's perspective. She may be fussing, but it may be for a good reason. You may want to share, but you don't know exactly how to say it. So we help you to relate to each other, because believe it or not, she was once your age. So it's not that she wants to hurt, she actually wants to help, but she may not understand how to express herself because she didn't have Journey Girl when she was your age. So I'm here today to focus on the aspects of entrepreneurship. The last presentation was awesome, teaching you about Google. I am a product of social media, if you will. I actually applied for a job at Google most recently. I taught a workshop on social media mentoring for small business owners. And I was recruited by a headhunter to host events in Atlanta for Google to come out and get more exposure, to get you guys to post pictures and tell how things are going at certain events. So everything he said about those numbers, absolutely true. And even when you're working with a professional to help scout you or find those jobs, it's a waiting game at that point. Because you want to know, were you in the top 10 or the bottom 10? I don't know how you, but to be that one, and you may or may not get it. So it's depending on your experience, it's depending on your background, but then when it doesn't go through, you didn't make that cut, then what? Plan B. A lot of people go into entrepreneurship. And so that's kind of how Journey Girl came about. When I was your age, I didn't have a close relationship with my mother. We had a very toxic relationship, meaning we couldn't talk. She didn't like me. She would spread rumors about me. But in the end, you have to take your pain and make it your passion. Make it your purpose and why you're here. And so it took a life coach to tell me, well, God could trust you with that kind of life. I had all kinds of high school friends saying, I don't know how you made it through that. I would have killed myself. I would have died. I wouldn't have been able to make it. But to look on the faces of girls and moms today who trust me to say, listen, she's just trying to talk to you, and help them to communicate with each other, it makes it all worth it. I would live my life all over again just to know that I'm serving my purpose here on this earth. So with that said, we're going to take and pass out. Journey Girl's logo is a butterfly. Guys, I know we have guys, but you guys get a butterfly too. And let me see, I probably should take half the stack and go back. What we're going to do is just give you a chance to dream, just a little bit. Theory shows that when you decide your plan B will be entrepreneurship, you go back to childhood. What is it right now that you're focusing on that will help you to decide what kind of business you may be able to start when you're of age? Now, you might start a business in high school right now. It might go through college. Do we have enough? Okay, I have more. So just take a minute and think about your favorite hobby. Something you did when maybe you were 2, like Beyonce. I know she started singing at, 11 or younger. Think about what you're doing right now in your spare time that you would love to get paid for. If somebody could pay you, like I didn't know people would pay me to listen to their problems and help them figure out what the next solution is. So just on the front, write down the first thing that pops in your head, maybe when you guys were what, about 17, 18 years old? 18.
17.
So think about 17. At 10 years old, what was your favorite thing to do? Write it on your butterfly.
Can it just be something that you naturally do though?
It can be whatever you like. Because 9 times out of 10, you knew when you were about 5 or 6 that you were good at it, you liked it, it might have been weird. Like I remember reading a book of Bible stories my mom bought me as a gift when I was maybe 6, and I read about Noah's Ark. And I said, To myself at 6 years old, what if God called me to be the next Noah? I didn't know what that meant at 6, but now I see how I can save a generation, how what I do makes a difference to bring them in 2 by 2. So now that makes sense. At 6 years old, I knew. So chances are you already had an idea of what it was. I used to play school a lot, grading papers, talking. I was always the leader. So it didn't necessarily mean I wanted to be a teacher in a classroom, but I still get to talk and teach. Write that on your butterfly. Just FYI, we're very social media savvy. On the back of your butterfly, you'll see our website. I would love for you guys to keep in contact with me, give me feedback, share your dreams. Go on the Journey Girl website and see what we have going on, like our Facebook page, chat with us. Let us know what you think, any kind of ideas that you need help with, being inspired. But keep in mind what you're writing on the front of that butterfly. Then, write what you would like to make. How much would you like somebody to pay you? Is it more than Google would pay at $60,000? Because income is unlimited when you're an entrepreneur. You determine how much you make. Nobody's putting a cap on you. If you want to make 60, you got to be willing to get out and hustle. It's more than possible. Other avenues to consider. I wrote my first book 2 years ago, The Journey Girl Guide to Teen Girl Self-Empowerment. This is talking about social media, finding a mentor, how do you stay on the right track from high school to college, finding someone who can help lead you down that right path. That may be your next step on your journey to fulfilling whatever it is you wrote on your butterfly. So right now I want you to write down someone you may have in mind who could help you dream just a little bit bigger. Is it a favorite teacher? Is it someone you look up to who maybe went to college? Someone who may be graduating this year, your mom, someone at your church, in your community center. Think about someone who can help you take that next step, because that is your support system. That's what's going to get you to the next level. So just write that person's name down. And these are just some tips that I go over in my book, and I'm teaching you how to get a mentor. This is step 1, and then the next most important step after you know who that person is, and if you don't, I'm sure you guys have counselors, guidance counselors, teachers who I'm sure will share their insight, about what the journey looks like after high school. You're going to need letters of recommendation. You're going to need people who know your character outside of the classroom. Is she a leader? Is he a servant? And they can vouch for you to help you get scholarships. I had a full ride to Clark Atlanta University, debt-free. The only time I would get a loan for school is to go shopping. Now that's a brat, but that's how it was. They basically paid me to go to school. Free housing, free meal, free car, apartment, whatever I wanted, I got it. But I had the GPA, I had the scholarship, I had the recommendations, I was a leader, I did the community service, the volunteering. These are all the things that you need to be in line to do to lead up to college, to help you graduate with that success. But that leads into our next question. You don't necessarily have to go to college to become an entrepreneur. If you look at people like Steve Jobs and Apple and all the little geniuses, Facebook, did these people graduate college? No. Most of them don't. I'm not saying don't go. I'm not saying drop out. I'm saying it's not a requirement. Now, whatever you wrote on your butterfly, you also want to make sure that the classes you're taking right now line up with that vision. If you want to be a writer, are you taking English literature? If you want to be a politician, are you into government? If you want to just be out and be a servant in the community, are you doing that now with your after-school program activities? What are you doing on your journey right now to help you achieve what's on the front of your butterfly? These are just some things to consider. I want to take a quick pause and see if there are any questions, anything you guys want to ask right now. Any questions on finding a mentor, dreaming, next steps, what's college like, what's business ownership like, anything?
Oh.
There you go.
What's college like?
Well, I heard some great names in here. I started out at Clark Atlanta University as a pre-med major. Then I would get into my lab, which overlooked the promenade, which is the place where all my friends hung out. You see them dancing and partying, and you in there working with Kim. And I'm like, this isn't what I want to do. So I was the 1 out of 7 to change my major from biology to psychology. I knew I wanted to work with people, more communicating, more getting out, getting involved in the community, and so I changed it to psychology. Spent 2 years at Clark Atlanta University, which was great. You pay for the social life, not necessarily the education. Then I went to Georgia State, another full scholarship. So one of my scholarships would follow me from school to school, just depending on what I wanted to do. But I remained a psychology major while I was at Georgia State. Bigger school, public school. Clark is private, so it's harder to get funding, free money. But Georgia State was public, so I got a lot more scholarship and federal assistance, government education type funding. That's when I came into contact with the opportunity to serve girls, with Cool Girls. I don't know if you guys know about Cool Girls Inc. I was one of the mentors running the after school program for Cool Girls, and that's how I got into working with girls and working with kids. So it was a great journey from beginning to end. I now attend Mercer University, where I'm a student there with human resources, focusing on training and development, training other leaders to do what I do out in the community. And then I work with they have a summer youth enrichment program for kids who want to be smarter by next grade level. So they get to come to our summer camp and know more than their classmates by the time they go back to school the following year. So it's great, it continues. I was determined to be a professional student, and I still am. I still go to workshops and conferences, and I learn as much as I can. Because in the world of business, in the world of entrepreneurship, it's what you know. It's as simple as picking up a book and teaching yourself, empowering yourself on how to take it to the next level. Not necessarily following in someone else's footsteps. There's no blueprint. You're free to do whatever you want to do as an entrepreneur. You set your own hours, you set your own pay scale, you decide who you want to work with, who you don't want to work with. What do you want to do with your time? So I hope that whatever you wrote on your butterflies will inspire you, even the guys. You don't have to show your other guy friends that you got butterflies. But remember your dream. Remember what you wrote on those butterflies. Remember what you were good at when you were 5 years old and your mom said, well, one day you're going to be, and write it on your butterfly. Remember that mentor that you want to reach out to. I would suggest send them an email to say, hey, do you have any time on the weekends that we can hang out maybe an hour where I can ask you questions? They call it picking your brain. Ask me some things I want to know about this industry. Can you give me a tour of where you work or what you do? Feel free to reach out and let them know. A lot of people are honored that they have someone younger than them looking up to them, wanting to do and what they do and following their footsteps. So, and keep in mind also what you want to make and make sure you're on that path with the classes, with the educational backing. And if you want to work for yourself, you still can work for Google as a consultant. Come in as someone who specializes in what you do. So I hope this inspired you. I just want to, that's our first question. Look at Journey Girl pencil.
Thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
How hard is it to do all those things?
It's extremely hard. Very, very hard. Because first, like you guys, I had to write down what I wanted to do. Then I had trial and error. Today is our 8th birthday. So I've been in business for 8 years. So I started out making flower clips for ladies' hair, like the Hawaiian look you see. And I would sell them for $1. And I would challenge myself. I would ride the train I was working with Cool Girls. I would ride the train purposely with no purse, no money. All I had was my flowers. That was my push for myself to get out of my comfort zone. I had to sell my product in order to earn train fare to get home. So that's how I pushed myself to sell. Once I saved up enough money, I invested half of every paycheck back into my business. That's how I grew my inventory. Cool Girls invited me to teach a summer camp. I volunteered to teach jewelry making. I didn't know how to make jewelry, but I remember at 10 years old from summer camp. From then on, I was teaching jewelry making classes to Girl Scout troops and business organizations, and that's where Journey Girl came from, making jewelry, reinvesting into my company. And from the jewelry making classes, I would hear the conversations of these 8-year-old girls, just advanced. 8-year-old kids know a lot of information, and I said, well, these conversations kind of need to be directed. And I could tell that the mom couldn't get through to the girl. So that's where our workshops came from, and that's where we are today. But it was extremely hard. It's a long journey. They say it takes at least 10 years before you can prove that you're successful at this. Uncle Sam gives you 3 years to fail. Like, I bet you can't do it in 3 years. So if you make it past that 3, 5, and 10-year mark, you're pretty good, but you still have an 80% chance of going out of business. So it's all about what you make it. Yes, sir.
Okay, I have 2 questions. What is the most stressful part about you being an entrepreneur?
Very lingering your question.
And do you have kids?
pens? No, I wish I did. Pencils are good. You guys don't use pencils anymore? Well, I work
Not
with
anymore.
8-year-olds, so they love pencils and crayons and markers, so I apologize. The most stressful thing about being an entrepreneur is that you do it all yourself. I don't report to a boss. I'm not a part of a team until I come and work with another group, but I'm the face. If I mess up, it's on me. If I succeed, it's on me. But it's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. Even today, as soon as I leave here, I gotta be somewhere else and then somewhere else. And by the time I get home, I'm exhausted. Plus, I go to school and sit in a class for 4 hours, just like you guys. So it's a lot. Very hard. So that's the honest truth. I can't sugarcoat it. It's what I live, and I'm glad you asked. You guys are interested. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Can you talk about any degrees that you're working on?
Degrees, like I said, I started out bio major, changed to psychology. While I was there, I've always been fascinated with the Latin American culture, so I focused on Latin American studies as well, just to kind of diversify my audience. And so now, partnering with the Hispanic initiative of the Girl Scouts of the USA, you're able to broaden your horizon. But those were just what I wanted to do. It wasn't necessary, just like the training I'm taking now at Mercer. I don't need a degree to do what I do. But to have one might add one more zero on those checks I get when I do teach a class. So it's better to have one, but you don't necessarily have to have one. But when you're an entrepreneur, this is considered your degree. You can prove that you can make it through sitting and writing your first book. This is a resume, this is experience, and this is your degree. Yes, sir. These are my personal copies.
Oh.
I can get with you though and get you one. Yes, sir. Any other questions? Yes. I absolutely love what I do. It's the smile on my face. It's the reason I get out of bed in the morning knowing that some mom, some girl, some child is waiting on Miss AJ to make a difference. I got up at 5 this morning to be here with y'all. I think I love what I do. I don't know how y'all do it. I can't remember doing this, but I absolutely love what I do. Like I said, I live life with no regrets. I don't apologize for the journey I had to take to get me here now. I can't say that I would do anything differently. I think I'm on the right path. And I wish you guys well on your journey. Thank you.